On the evening of September 26, 1981, a seasoned diver named John Harris plunged into the dark waters of Big Skulls Lake Cave, driven by an audacious goal. Armed with a fishing line baited for a legendary 70-pound fish, he ventured into the depths, not for adventure, but for a fishing expedition that could defy all logic. Little did he know, this reckless dive would lead him into the heart of danger, an ambition that would soon turn into an eerie silence, never to be answered. His dive would soon become more than just a pursuit of fish. It would be a fight for survival. Before we dive into video, please subscribe our channel. As always, viewer discretion is advised. John Harris was no stranger to the world of diving. With over 8 years of open water experience and certification from the National Association of Underwater Instructors, he was highly skilled in the art of scuba diving. His expertise had been honed through countless dives in the open waters, where he had mastered the nuances of navigating currents and managing underwater equipment. However, cave diving was a different beast entirely. The tight, confined spaces, poor visibility, and lack of natural light present unique challenges that John was unprepared for. Cave diving requires specialized training, including redundant air supplies, thorough planning, and careful adherence to safety protocols. These are not optional. They are vital for survival in the hazardous environment of an underwater cave. Unfortunately, John had no such training. His experience in open water did not prepare him for the intricate, dangerous nature of cave diving. And worse still, he chose to dive alone, violating one of the most critical rules of cave diving: never dive solo. Unlike most divers who explore underwater caves for adventure or scientific discovery, John Harris had a peculiar goal in mind: catching a legendary fish. Armed with a fishing line and baited with 5B catfish, he aimed to lure a massive 70-pound fish believed to lurk in the cave's mysterious depths. This wasn't a typical dive for exploration or study. It was an ambitious, yet reckless, fishing expedition. John had hoped to trap the elusive creature in a place where few had ever ventured, but his decision to mix such an outlandish goal with cave diving set the stage for disaster. As John disappeared into the cave's entrance, witnesses saw him venture deeper, unaware that this seemingly harmless mission would soon lead to his tragic fate. What was meant to be an adventurous challenge turned into an ominous silence. He never resurfaced. His dive was about to become a haunting reminder of how ambition can sometimes clash violently with reality. When John Harris failed to return, concern quickly turned to panic. Hours passed without a trace of him, and authorities were finally alerted. A search and rescue mission was launched, spearheaded by William Scott, a seasoned cave diver from Missouri, and a recovery team from Kansas City. Initially, the operation focused on rescuing John, hoping for a miraculous return. But as time went on, the reality set in survival was nearly impossible without a proper air supply, and the chances of finding him alive dwindled rapidly. By Sunday evening, more than 24 hours after John had entered the cave, the mission shifted from rescue to recovery. As experienced as William and his team were, the cave's treacherous conditions made every movement cautious and calculated. With no signs of life and no clues to John's whereabouts, the team braced themselves for what they feared would be a grim discovery, one that might reveal more than just a missing diver, but a lost soul in the heart of the cave. As William Scott descended into the cave, the first thing he encountered was John's fishing line, still extending into the murky darkness. The baited hooks remained untouched, offering no signs of struggle or distress, just a chilling stillness that filled the air. William cautiously continued deeper into the cave, navigating its narrow, jagged passages and thick silt-covered floors. Every movement stirred the fine sediment, reducing visibility to near zero. At one point, the passage grew even more restricted, narrowing to a tiny opening only 16 to 20 inches high. The darkness was suffocating, and the water was thick with silt, making it impossible to see anything beyond an arm's length. Despite his experience, William realized the dangers of continuing further into the cave. With no signs of John and conditions worsening, he made the difficult decision to stop, resurface, and report back. No one had seen or heard from John since he disappeared into the cave. The Kansas City recovery team arrived shortly after William Scott surfaced, ready to continue the search for John Harris. However, the cave's treacherous conditions presented numerous challenges. The passageways were tight, and visibility was nearly non-existent. making it difficult for the team to navigate. Even the most experienced divers had to be extremely cautious. Safety lines and air hoses became tangled in unseen obstacles, further complicating their efforts. One of the divers, determined to push beyond William's stopping point, squeezed through a narrow passage and entered a new chamber. But as he moved, a large rock dislodged from the ceiling, striking him painfully in the face. The impact left him shaken and badly hurt. But he was fortunate to survive. In excruciating pain, he had no choice but to retreat. The cave, proving just as dangerous for the rescuers as it had been for John, continued to claim lives with its unpredictable dangers. As the search continued, several theories emerged about what could have happened to John Harris. One of the most plausible was that he became entangled in the very fishing line he had set. Cave diving already presents an extreme entrapment risk, and the presence of an unsecured line running through narrow passageways only heightened the danger. If the line wrapped around John's gear or limbs, he might have struggled to free himself, depleting his oxygen in the process. Another theory suggested equipment failure, such as a regulator malfunction or a ruptured hose, leaving John without a viable air supply. Panic could have set in as he lost his bearings in the dark, silt-filled water, leading him to make fatal mistakes. The unforgiving nature of the cave itself, with tight squeezes, falling rocks, and zero visibility, only added to the risk. Without a clear path back, John may have succumbed to hypoxia and drowned, lost in the abyss. After exhaustive search efforts, the recovery mission was called off. John Harris's body was never found, swallowed by the dark, silt-filled depths of Big Skulls Lake Cave. His tragic fate serves as a harsh reminder of the extreme risks involved in cave diving. The incident underscores the importance of preparation, specialized training, and adherence to safety protocols. Solo cave diving, inadequate equipment, and hazardous foreign objects like fishing lines all contributed to this devastating outcome. This story is a grim lesson for divers everywhere, illustrating how easily ambition can turn into tragedy. If you found this story insightful and want to hear more about the risks and lessons in extreme diving, be sure to subscribe. Stay safe, stay prepared, and never forget that even the most experienced divers can face danger in the blink of an eye. This tragedy highlights the crucial importance of preparation and safety in cave diving. Never dive solo, always use proper equipment, and ensure you're trained for the specific dive you're undertaking. Even the most experienced divers can make fatal mistakes if they ignore the risks. The environment inside an underwater cave can be unforgiving, and small errors can lead to disastrous outcomes. Remember, adventure should always be paired with caution. What safety measures do you think are most important when diving in such extreme conditions? Have you ever faced unexpected challenges during a dive? Let us know in the comments.